Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here, and today we're looking at Emergency from Charlton Comics by Byrne. John supplied the art for this. It's one of his earliest works, probably. He started with Charlton before he moved over to Marvel. I believe, from what I understand, this is more towards the end of his stint at Charlton. Charlton was pretty prominent. They were kind of known for not paying the greatest page rates, but they had a lot of work and they would pay immediately. You wouldn't have to wait to get paid, so a lot of artists went to work for them. John got a break working there. They had a lot of licensed properties, so this is based on the TV show Emergency. We've got a Joe Staton cover here. It's interesting because this really screams early Byrne work to me. I have to thank my friend Stephen Wilcox, huge Byrne fan, by the way, for bringing this to my attention. I wasn't aware of it until he posted it, so of course I had to go get it. One of the things that stood out to me immediately was the art is listed as Byrne Robotics, and so I was like, I wonder what that's all about. So if you are a fan of Byrne or know anything about him, he does have a website, his own personal website called Byrne Robotics. So I thought that was interesting that said that. So I didn't know if he was just trying to be cute or if he didn't know how he was going to credit himself. But I thought, the ego of John Byrne, no offense, but, he is kind of known for his ego, would not just sort of use this sort of, studio type sounding name. I feel like he would want full credit. So doing a little research, I came up with a post from his blog, from the man himself. I'll post it in the video before this review. Anyway, so he had mentioned that working on Emergency was one of the, not great experiences. They had issues with likenesses and certain other things. So he said it was heavily redrawn, and I believe that's why it's credited to Byrne Robotics, because a lot of people were jumping in and inking over his art and just changing certain things. So when he says heavily redrawn, I have no idea to what extent that was, but we're going to look through it, and a lot of it looks like early Byrne to me. You can definitely see that. It's funny because, as you can see, I just got this from mycomicshop.com, and they list this as VG, which I'm assuming is very good. And I'm not a collector for the kind of grading or anything like that, but this seems horrible condition. There's all kinds of stains all over it. The pages are so brittle. I feel like I could break them in half and snap them. But, I mean, it is from 1976, and what would you expect? I mean, they weren't using the best paper or printing, so the pages have deteriorated heavily. But I have to say, a lot of this scratchiness, that looks like when Byrne kind of inks himself, he started out emulating a Neil Adams style, which kind of has that scratchy, inking. And that definitely says Byrne to me. So like I said, I don't know what's, being heavily redrawn here or not. But you can definitely see a lot of Byrne sensibility as far as the way he draws faces, the way he lays out a page. I mean, that just smacks quintessential Byrne right there to me. Just sort of all of it. So I'd be curious to know. One thing I was noticing, because a lot of his Raj 2000 backups were started, I guess, in E-Man, which was drawn by Joe Staton. And I never put it together. I don't know if John Byrne was a Joe Staton, if he was influenced by him. But looking at his work, I have to say he probably was. I see a lot of Staton and Byrne, especially his early work. So I'm guessing he might have been kind of an influence, because they both have a little bit of a cartooniness to their art, which I like. So I think a good mix of realism and cartooniness is kind of my preference when it comes to comic book art. But I mean, this just looks like, Byrne cheekbones and just Byrne expressions and camera angles and all that, even at 1976, you know, I think that he definitely, and I think that's why he became so popular so quickly, is that he definitely just hit the ground running and had a lot going for him as far as being a more than competent storyteller and just, you know, having, I mean, this is pretty dynamic for the time being, you know, using different and exciting camera angles and just really standing out. I mean, of course, he would, you know, really spread his wings and blow up on the X-Men, which historically, apparently, he feels like it sort of was picking up as he was leaving. So, I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I think that their run is like so legendary, and who knows how the sales worked or anything like that, but whatever it was, he brought momentum and popularity to the book, which is undeniable. I mean, I think people cite the Claremont-Byrne era is, you know, the best era in X-Men history. I mean, I think that a large percentage of X-Men fans kind of agree on that. Depending on how old you are, I guess. I mean, I'm sure that the current fans are just all over this Hickman stuff, and I can't. I mean, for me, I guess I'm old school, and I really, you know, just, Chris Claremont was the voice and just the soul of the X-Men to me, and sort of will always represent that as far as my X-Men are concerned. So, and I know that's blasphemy saying that while looking at a John Byrne book, since they butted heads so much, but whatever caused their rift also was because of what they brought together. So, I mean, I dare you to show me a more magical time in comic books than John Byrne and Chris Claremont and the X-Men. I mean, I'm sure there are comparable examples, but I just think, you know, whatever. Everyone knows I love John Byrne. And look at this. That is such a John Byrne, like, you know, like the way he draws like thin characters with bell bottoms, especially, you know, in the mid to late 70s, early 80s. Very funny. Space 1989. That's another like licensed Charlton book. Charlton has a very interesting history with like so many just artists work for them of note and name, and of course, you know, John Byrne and Joe Staton are probably some of the more notable ones, and they're kind of escaping me now who else, but there's a ton of people, and just very cool, interesting, rich part of history. It's funny because I think this went for 4 issues, and I really think that John Byrne, aside from drawing like these backup sort of pictures like this, these illustrations in the letters page or the text pages in the back here, because that's kind of like the format that they had going on. Although this looks like a stat from an interior page, but aside from that, I don't think he drew beyond this first issue, and I think that because of his speed, eagerness, and just looking for work, he was kind of thrown onto this project. But like I said, he said he didn't really enjoy it, so that's kind of a bummer. I like looking at all the old ads. What are these, like little army men? Only $2.25. I don't, it's funny because I don't ever remember sending away for any of this stuff and probably wanting to, but my mom was probably savvy enough to know that, like, first of all, it's either total junk, and second of all, even if it's not, you really don't want it taking up your closet space, because I really would have gotten all this. I think I did have a bald skin wig at one time, and God knows why. That would be appealing to a child. Anyway, so this is Emergency from Charlton, a great piece of John Byrne history. Like I said, he said it was heavily redrawn, but I see so much of John Byrne in this, and it's great to see, like, just any ounce in John Byrne going on. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, hit like, share my content, and I'll bring you some more later. All right, thanks, guys.